please host an afternoon tea with me. Hello, I'm Heidi and I am inviting you to please come along and host an afternoon tea with me. We are going to start in the beginning and go through to the end. I am sitting here, I have some of my favorite tea books out, and I've chosen a few very classic recipes because we are going to make some little sandwiches, scones, and some little cakes at the top. Okay, our three-tiered tea caddy. So stay tuned, let's get started. Well, we've decided to host an afternoon tea. This is going to be so much fun, and remember, an afternoon tea is informal. It is not some stuffy affair, even though there's some etiquette involved. This is supposed to be fun. So right now I've come up with a date and a time and an invitation list, and I will create an invitation. I think that I'm just going to do an e-invitation. There's some beautiful ones online, and send to my friends that I'm going to invite to my afternoon tea. So I have that part of the planning out of the way, and now I need to decide on the menu. So I've broken out some of my favorite, I have many, but I've broken out some of my favorite afternoon tea cookbooks. I have so many, but today this is what I'm going to do, and I want to make this a very traditional because some of my friends have not experienced an afternoon tea. So, afternoon tea, three-tiered tea caddy. You know, in a private home, you might not see that. It might just be on plates. I happen to have a slew of three-tiered tea caddies, so I'm going to use them for fun. And you know that the order on the bottom is sandwiches, the middle is always the scones or the scones, and the top are the little cakes. Okay, so let's just start with the sandwiches. We're going to do two kinds of each, and I think we're going to go very traditional, and I'm going to go with cucumber, cream cheese, and dill. And I've been making out my shopping list while we're here, so I know I need dill, the cucumbers, and anything else that I need for these sandwiches. I'm going to have some brown bread and white bread on this. And I always buy Pepperidge Farm very thin bread. It works beautifully for these little tea sandwiches. And these are going to be cut into finger-sized sandwiches. Okay, so my second that I've decided on, another classic, is smoked salmon and herb creme fraiche sandwiches. So some smoked salmon, that's going to be lovely. And I will have, that's got a little Dijon mustard. I have that. Basil, oh, I'll take you outside. I'm growing pots of it. And of course, so it's going to be some lemons, and this will be on brown bread. Okay, so I've got that. And now I've decided for the scones. I'm going to do the very traditional scones recipe, and I have several of these recipes, and I'm happy to share these with you. This one is called the Buckingham Palace. I'm not sure if they really serve these there, but that's the name, supposedly. So I'm going to make those. They will be very classic, and I know we'll serve those. I don't know if I can buy clotted cream in my store, but I can have some really great butter. I can clarify some beautiful butter and maybe whip it. And I can have some beautiful jams and a marmalade for the scones or scones. And then at the top, I'm going to make some little cakes. I'm going to make madeleines. I love those. I have a lot of madeleine pans. They're fun. They're delicious. And I'm going to make something very classic called the Victorian sponge. It's a sponge cake. It looks really quite beautiful. This is from Fortnum and Mason. And we are going to make that. It's a beautiful sponge with jam in the middle. So I know I've made out all my shopping list. I know what I need. And now I am going to get myself together and get to the store and buy some of these things. And then we're going to start preparing. All right. See you soon. Well, I'm at the grocery store. I am going to go shopping for our afternoon tea, so come with me. So I'm in my favorite grocery store with all this beautiful produce, and now I'm going to go through my list, and I see some beautiful dill. We need some dill. That's on the list. Okay, this is going to be fun. We are going to have a great tea. Thanks for hosting with me. All right, now where's the watercress? We have some baking to do, so I better get a little bit of flour here. We're going to do quite a bit of baking here. Okay, so we've got to have some flowers, right? So look at all these beautiful colors. Well, this is what I've decided on. Pretty nice. Okay, well, now we are going to take these roses that we bought at the grocery store. I know grocery store flowers, but don't be too snobby. We can make them quite beautiful, I'm telling you. Okay, so I always do use this little pack. There's another trick if you don't have one of these. You can put just a tiny, tiny drop of bleach. Yes, it's just sort of a bacteria, is that the right word? Just keeps the crud down, if you will. These are beauties. Okay, so I buy these beautiful roses. Oh, there's always one that goes. Okay, there's always one that goes, and you know what I do with the one? Always, on the diagonal, I have a little bud vase that I keep at my kitchen sink here, and I always take the one that falls off, the one that's not so great, and I keep it for myself. And so while I'm here at the kitchen sink and doing different things here in the kitchen, I have one of the roses here for me. So, I have a little one too. Okay, so now what I do is I just start cutting the roses. I take you don't want any leaves, because the leaves really go bad quickly and they make the water bad. If you see any of the roses, any petals that don't look good, pull those off, okay? And if your roses aren't opened up, you can very gently turn back the petals one by one, and it can look like the roses, you sort of help the rose along open up, and it works. Okay, I'm going to do this at least a day or two ahead of the tea, so the roses can all open up beautifully by themselves, or else I'm going to have to do it. And you can mix it up. You want to mix it up with different colors, mix it up. You do you. What do you like? And you don't get too hung up on matchy. I like things that are just, whatever suits you. Oops, no leaves. And we're going to have this beautiful dome in a couple of days. So there you go, rose bowls. Love them, big fan. Let's bring them back, and it's going to look gorgeous when they all open up. And make sure you keep nice fresh water in there every day. So I just want to mention about rose bowls. If you don't want to invest in one of these rose bowls, then you can go buy just about anywhere a very inexpensive small round fish bowl. Yes, it's all you need is a round bowl with a small opening. I've done it myself, had a long table full of roses down there, and I use these inexpensive, I think I went to a dollar store for these for small fish bowls, and it looked just great. It looked great. So just didn't want you to think you had to spend a ton of money on a rose bowl. So there you go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is make our sandwiches and the scones or scones. Okay, so whenever you're doing anything, take a tip from the top chefs. They do something called mise en place, and it means have everything in place. Yes, everything is in place. I am ready to go. There's no searching for things. It makes everything so much easier. So this is my mise en place. We are going to do some recipes from Fortnum and Mason, the famous tea house and beautiful shop in London. They've been serving tea to the royals since the tea began in the 1700s, I think. So, okay, so we're going to do a smoked salmon, and we're going to do the classic cucumbers and dill. Okay, so let's just get started. Alrighty, I have everything all ready to go, and I am just going to start in. I have nice clean hands. I just had washed my hands just a moment ago, but I touched my glasses, so we will start over. Okay, so we are ready to go. And it says I'm going to mix together my cream cheese and a little fresh dill. And again, this is all nice and ready for me. I'm just mixing this together, and this is going to be our basis for our cucumber sandwiches. Okay, so I have that all ready, and now I'm going to go ahead and mix this up, and I'm going to put the cucumbers are in this bowl. They have a little white vinegar's been sitting on them, and that's all ready to go. And now I can start in. I'm just going to spread a little bit of this cream cheese mixture onto our bread. I've got one here. I've got the bread all cut. I am partial to Pepperidge Farm very thin, depending on where you are and where you live. As long as you can have bread that is quite thin, that's really all you want. Okay, so nice thin slices, and we are going to butter the top slice. So we have some nice cream cheese on the bottom. Let's make sure we have enough. And now we are going to butter the top. Let me grab another spreader here, and we will spread. Sorry, mise en place. Okay, Heidi. Alrighty, so now we're going to spread a little bit of butter on the top, and we are going to make this go very quickly. That's the thing about afternoon tea. It's informal, it's easy, and it's kind of fun to make this, and it goes very quickly. And here's another tip. It is not very expensive for a lot of these things. I've gone to the garden for most of my things, and that makes it nice, all the herbs. Okay, so now what we do is we are going to just put some slices of cucumber onto our sandwiches, overlap those a little bit, and these have been, like I said, sitting in with just a little bit of white wine vinegar. And then we'll top these. And how easy is this? I mean, seriously, this is not hard stuff. It's not rocket science, and it's really good. It's refreshing, it's good, it's very nice. Okay, so I'm going to top it with our top layer, which is our butter, and that's it. Now I'm going to take it, one of our layers, the bottom layer of our tea caddy will have sandwiches. So we're going to put half of our plate full of these, the cucumber sandwiches. All right, so now we are just going to do our bottom layer. Now we'll get to the other side of our plate for the bottom layer of the tea caddy. Okay, now this is smoked salmon. So we are going to use brown bread for this one, and I've cut these in a diagonal just to sort of mix it up a little bit. You cut them any way you like, but it's just, the idea is they're just dainty little finger sandwiches. You can pick these up with your fingers or use a knife and fork if they're just a little bit too big for, and these probably will be, so you could cut them. They're finger sandwiches, so you could eat them with your fingers. That's fine. You prefer the knife and fork, you can do that as well. Okay, so we are going to butter these. We're going to butter one side, and let's butter. We have this nice soft butter. This is some lovely salted butter, and it's soft, all ready to go. So there goes my butter. And then we are going to lay some salmon on top. And let's do a little bit of salmon on top of each one of these. Just quick. This is I'm sort of partial to, I love salmon, I love smoked salmon, and I really do like the wild caught. The wild caught salmon, I think it has a little wilder taste, obviously, but I like that. I prefer the taste. So let's do another layer here with our salmon. Okay, and alrighty, and then here is something that is quite nice. Our cream cheese that we used for our cucumbers, it's the same recipe we can use for the salmon. So our top layer will be the same cream cheese with dill. So the top layer, we do a little of this, spread this on, spread this on. See how quickly this goes? And this is good. I mean, this all tastes wonderful. And
I have gone to my herb pot outside, and I have a few more herbs that I cut up. I cut some basil and some thyme and a little rosemary, just whatever you happen to have. Put a few more little bits of your whatever herbs that you can get. You don't have to go spend a bunch of money on a lot of herbs, just whatever you have that is close to you. Okay, we have this, and now we will just top our top slice. The herb slice goes over the salmon, and these are going to be good. I'm telling you, these are going to be really good. All right, so now we are going to put these on our plate, our sandwich plate. This will be the other side of the bottom layer of our tea caddy, which is 3 tiers. And you start at the bottom on the first tier, which is the sandwiches. And the idea is the sandwiches sort of take your appetite. They sort of curb your appetite just a little bit. Okay, so we have this. It's that easy. It's that quick. We are done. And now we are going to move on to our scones. Okay, while we are making other things, to keep our sandwiches, keep the bread fresh, we are going to put a very damp, just barely damp, but damp, so you see how I really wrung that out, damp paper towel over our bread. This will keep this from curling. Okay, it will keep the bread from drying out and starting to curl. So I've got my damp but really wrung out paper towel on here, and now I'm going to put them in the fridge while I work on everything else. Okay, stay tuned. Okay, so I've got my plate, and we know the scones, they go in the middle. Okay, that is the second thing we eat. First the sandwiches, now we're at the middle. My hands are nice and clean. The scones have cooled a bit. And here's another top tip. The scones are best the day of your tea. You can bake them ahead of time, maybe freeze them and heat them up. That's okay. It's not quite as good. So depending on your time, again, afternoon tea is informal, it's easy, so don't get so hung up on things. Just have fun. This is about having fun. So now I'm going to put my scones on my middle plate, and we will be ready for our tea here shortly. Okay. So now we are at the top of our 3-tiered tea caddy. It's the fun one. It's the little cakes, yes, and the cakes are meant to be little individual things. Okay, so now I have a dirty little secret for you. I have not made all of these things. I made the fruit tarts. I have a wonderful and easy recipe for that. Drop me a comment. Love to share it with you. Now, I did not have time to make everything. Sometimes I make everything, sometimes you just run out of time. You know how it is. And I've gone to our nice grocery store, and I've bought some beautiful things. So as long as you fill up your top plate with beautiful things, whether they're homemade or not, it doesn't matter. You're still the host, it's still from you. So I think this is going to be fun. I think our guests are going to enjoy it, don't you? I'm so happy you're hosting this tea along with me. Alrighty, so thank you. Here's our desserts. Okay, now it's time to set our table for our guests for our afternoon tea. Now, just like we do in the kitchen, page from the great chefs, mise en place, when you set any table, it makes everything so much easier. Have it all out, laid out, and that way it is so much faster, so much easier, and you can see what you're missing, what you've forgotten. Okay, so I have butter. We will move those into the middle. Hey, here's our roses. Look how those roses opened up. But we have a little color on our table. We have our 3-tiered tea caddy, and now I have my plates. We are going to have, there'll be 4 of us today. You, myself, and 2 guests. So we're going to do 4 set for 4 so you can sort of see how we'll do. So we have luncheon-sized plates. This is what you serve for afternoon tea. And of course, the star of the show is our teacups. And here we go. And we are using, this is called Blue Italian by Spode. And what I like about Spode is Josiah Spode was the first person to perfect bone china. They actually would grind up oxen bone ash, and it went into the formula for the ceramics, and that allowed this to become very, very strong. But it was super expensive back in the day when he devised this. Only the wealthy could have it. So the wealthy would put in their tea first because it would not shatter. Now the people that did not have as uber bank accounts, they put in milk first to temper the teacup, and then the hot tea. So that's sort of where you get into that, but we'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. So, okay, so we are going to set our, and just like any glassware, drinks, D-R-I-N-K, I tell the kids, drinks are on the R-I-G-H-T, right-hand side. Okay, the fives. Okay, now this, you say, Heidi, what are these little pots? These little pots are here for hot water, because sometimes people choose to have their tea a little weaker. And so this will allow them to dilute their tea just a little bit. So everyone gets a little teapot, and that can just go in sort of in the middle, I think would be nice. All right, and when you set your teacup and saucer, if you're facing the teacup, the handle should be at 3 o'clock, like it's the face of a clock, so 3 o'clock. All right, so we have this person is all set, and we have our person here is all set. Okay, so now we have what's so great about afternoon tea is it's easy. I mean, I keep saying that, but it is easy. And you have a fork and a knife, and you use, if you are so lucky to have this, use your luncheon sized silver, but use whatever you have, fork and a knife, because you will be putting some things on your scones. And then let's see, here we go here, and let's put these. And so our forks are on the left, F-O-R-K, knife on the right, R-I-G-H-T, 5, 5, 4, 4. Okay, the kids love it. Okay, now these little things are our tea strainers. This is how we're actually going to strain our loose tea. And it goes over our teacup, and we pour the tea from the tea kettle there, like this, and then it goes into the little holder. So this is for our tea strainer, and our extra hot water to dilute if it's a bit too strong, because some people like it strong, some people like it weak. It just depends on how you like things. Okay, so we have that. We have a little bit of butter, we have some jam, and we have, of course, a teaspoon so we can stir our tea. And the spoon goes on the right hand side. How many letters? Okay, I know the kids do love that. Okay, so, and it's a good little learning lesson for the kids. Okay, so what's left? We have milk for the people that like milk in their tea. We have sugar, and what are we missing? A lemon. Some people like lemon. So we will get a lemon together, and I have small luncheon-sized napkins. We're just going to fold them. They're very nice. Guests will be arriving very soon, any moment, so I could wait until they've arrived, but I know that they are pulling up in the driveway, and I know they don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to go ahead and place things out. Again, our sandwiches that we made together are on the bottom. The next layer are scones, and they smell great. Okay, and the top layer are our little desserts, our little cakes, meant to be for an individual. And of course, the cakes, some of those, and my fruit tarts are pretty large, so we will need the knife and fork for those. Okay, so we have it. We have our roses we got in the grocery store. They look great. We are all ready. We just have to bring out the lemon and the tea. Well, this has been so fun to prepare for our afternoon tea with you. Thank you for hosting along with me. And now I think, because this is informal, tea, you can wear anything you want to afternoon tea. and I am going to quickly change into a nice dress, something very casual, very easy. And meanwhile, I think it looks like somebody's getting ready to arrive. Uh-oh, they're here.